Okay.
How are you?
Good. Everybody happy today? We are. Good,
Here's the Lord.
good. It's a beautiful day outside.
It's gonna get hot, but
Is it?
it's gonna be 101 tomorrow, 103 on Thursday.
Oh, I had no idea.
Now pay attention.
I do. That's crazy. Summer arrived. with No,
No fanfare, right?
yeah, just,
We did last year. We had cool weather and rain. All the way up until sometime in June and then bam.
huh. Well, Something.
That's the road department will close the doors, so there's Max fits here in the meeting, so.
Everything's still going well here.
The way I can tell that it has warmed up because our office is cold. And then when we step outside in the afternoon, you're just like,
Oh,
my gosh, it is so hot out here.
what you need to do is step out every couple of
Yeah.
hours just to remind
Yeah,
yourself.
because you get lulled into thinking, because we're wearing sweaters and I walk outside.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I'm like,
Oh,
yeah.
no, time to rip it off.
First 15 seconds, it feels good. So
Yeah, right,
Yeah.
because it warms you up, but then it's, ooh. No,
He has forbidden me to work outside in the yard tomorrow, Thursday, or Friday.
ah,
Well, and just enjoy sitting on the couch.
She'll have
stuck in the house.
Yeah.
That's,
I just noticed that David is out on the tractor. He's trying to get our yard mowed day.
well, it's early. Wait a minute. Yeah, it's early. Maybe he can get it done before it gets too hot.
Yeah.
And that's,
No.
isn't sure. I'm still trying to figure out the best way to come down here. And it's
Where are you coming from?
off of Harmon Road. About 3 miles south of 412.
Come down 49, take the Fayetteville exit, swing around.
That's what I did today. The other day, I went Mount Comfort and around there thinking I would. I know. I know. And I keep thinking there's gotta be a way that I don't have to come back to 112. But I don't think there is.
No.
Did you map it to see what?
No, of course not. That would be the city way.
Yeah, I don't
Such
think
a
there's
system.
unless you took, this time of day, maybe if you took the Weddington exit and went down Weddington all the way down.
Yeah, I wondered about that, but
Go
it's,
down Weddington, which direction?
out toward
Go.
Weddington.
Yeah.
Lake, that way.
Why would you do that?
to go that way to come back.
Yeah. Cause I feel like when Lynn worked with us.
Did she go that way
She
sometimes?
did. Mhm.
Really?
Yep, that was one of her preferred ways to go.
No kidding.
Oh,
7 years.
yeah, 7 years ago, yeah. Yeah,
Well, it doesn't seem that there's a lot of traffic even on 49 at this time.
Mhm.
So I've been a little concerned. I actually had more traffic on 112 than slow traffic because it was trucks, pickup trucks with garden equipment on the trailer and back, and they were going extra slow. And I thought, well, maybe there's a better way to avoid those, but
I find in the morning when you're going 49, all the traffic is going up to Bentonville.
Oh, is
Our
it?
way. The only thing is if during the school
yeah,
time, if you're coming up around 7:45 or so,
right.
you want to make sure you're in that middle lane, because as soon as you get to where the MLK exit is,
Oh, it
the
gets backed
traffic
up.
starts backing up because of the school.
Yeah,
So, yeah, so I just bypass.
Yeah.
That, yeah.
oh my goodness. Well, you've had lots of practice.
Yeah, well, I used to be in that backed up lane.
Oh.
And then I started skipping it
Mhm.
and going this way.
Oh,
and just
really?
Going.
Come back.
into-
Come back.
Yeah, it was
Huh.
faster than waiting in all.
Isn't that amazing? Wow.
Actually, that's, I mean, you come back coming down 49, I come down 49. Both times, just all the way down to, the exit that brings you just south of the
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yep.
And
last bit.
Do we have minutes today?
We don't,
Okay.
Evelyn, had a doctor's appointment or something today, and so
Oh, okay.
she, did not pay attention.
Okay, no problem, no problem. I just figured I'd better take a look at it.
Yeah, no, and that's, like I said, it's not typical,
Yeah,
so.
yeah. Well, she's okay. We'll just bypass that. Good. Ready then. That means it was loaded, I guess.
Until they tell us to all submit it, and then if they have any big red flags, I will let you know.
Okay. We're in a sort of a new dispensation with a new comptroller.
Yeah,
dealing with all this.
so,
So that could, I mean, it may sail through and it may have a fine tooth comb taken to it.
yeah.
Who knows?
Well, I talked to him the other day, just briefly,
Mhm.
on in passing, and I said, you'll probably get a very detailed list from me too,
Yeah,
along with the other,
right.
so, yeah.
He knows that ahead of time.
Yeah.
Okay. Good. After July the 11th. Yeah, anything else?
Well, I will know July 3rd if the city
Right.
of Fayetteville is having a special
Oh,
election.
okay.
So there'll be a couple of things with that special election,
Mhm.
well, not with the special election, but just in general. One, they'll set a filing period and a ballot draw, but they're gonna have to do that early, but technically September 5th is the deadline for a November election.
Okay.
So we won't approve, we may do the ballot draw and do all of
yeah.
that early in August. But we won't actually approve ballots until after September 5th in case another
Yeah,
entity
right,
decides they want
right.
to hold a special election too. So I don't wanna jump the gun
Jinx it.
because we have all of that
Yeah,
prepped and done.
right.
Yours worked, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
is he out there?
I don't know, I just heard the doorbell, but surely his worked.
Oh, we didn't bring it.
Yeah, he might not. have.
Well, you might be thinking too, yeah, we're not really looking for it now.
Mine worked fine. I practiced on it the other day just to make sure. Cause I knew we wouldn't have a welcome party this
So far, I
time.
haven't, so far I haven't needed it. The lady opened the door for me last.
Oh,
time.
yeah.
There was a guy coming in this time. And
Ah,
It's real fun. Okay.
I haven't even looked for the reader. Where's the reader?
oh, it's squeezed into the, right by the handle of the door. There's a space about this big. And it's right there.
Hello,
Good morning.
good morning. I was a member of the public here, then we have a meeting.
Ah.
You don't have to, yeah, somebody was out there coming in. They don't, no one has to check in right here, do they? Anybody? Yeah, I'm right here. There's a guy out here who works here. Yeah, come on in here.
Hi.
Public meeting.
Well, no, we need the door closed.
Yeah, okay.
Because there's no way down there.
Yeah,
It
it's,
gets really loud.
Yeah, it wasn't easy to get in, you know, I had to wait a minute and, yeah, we need to clarify, because he was telling you, you needed to
yeah,
sign in
he
and
had
check
me
in
check
there.
in with someone and she was like, what are you doing
Oh,
here?
wow. Did your thing not work?
Yes, you're,
Oh, did it?
you're stood, yes.
Oh, I
you
did,
have-
now I didn't think it
Yeah.
worked.
Yes,
Okay.
yes,
Try it on your
I
way.
need to try it on the way
Yeah,
out.
you're
Okay.
just
Just be
Okay, good.
on the
That's
safe
good to
side.
know, okay, good.
that. before I touch it again.
Okay, this meeting is in session, and first item we are ignoring because we don't have minutes. So we'll go on to voting equipment needs. Jennifer?
Okay, so, I re-looked at all the numbers for the voting equipment. Oh, here it is. Should have printed this out. And based on,
Is this the bid that they gave you?
well, yes, but based on if we have, a 65% turnout and only 50% of them early vote and all of that, kind of reworked some of the numbers and then also based it off of the general 2022. And I'm sorry, I did not print this out for everyone, but this shows the equipment we have on hand. This shows the total we need and where we're short. And you'll see we're short one express vote, one DS200, and 2 tablets. Now, that is saying every single piece of equipment works
Works
completely
and
functional.
doesn't go kaput all of a
Right,
sudden.
right, that there's no issues with that. So based on that, my recommendation for this year would be to purchase the 3 express votes. And we can do it in 2 parts. We can purchase 2 DS200s from Benton County, and then towards the end of the year, when we know that we are good and have everything, we can purchase that 3rd DS200. The poll books, I spoke with Becky yesterday and she's gonna put in her automation fund money for the poll books. And so what we'll do is we'll swap out the poll books that she's using in her office that are in the heavy duty stands for the ones that are in the flip stand, because those are $955 versus the almost $1,200, $1,300 for the ones in the heavy duty stand. She doesn't need that stand. The flip stand will work perfect for her. And so that would be my recommendation for us to go ahead and purchase at this point. And the express votes, I have a letter from Benton County that they're assessed at $3,000 a piece. So that would be the purchase from.
How much was, how many poll books?
Right now she's gonna purchase, I'm gonna have her purchase 4 express poll books.
But is that on her budget or our budget?
Hers. She has what is called an automation fund that is not part of the general fund. And in it, she has certain money built in for IT or for different things like that. And she would be able to purchase the poll books for
She
us.
has how many now? of the,
She uses 8 poll books in her office, and she has set this one for each person in her office, and in order for her to make average changes throughout the day, she has to have those poll books, so we'll be swapping the ones in the nice stands, for us to use at the polls for her with the little flip stand.
but we'll just four for four, we'll get four of our eight.
Yes,
So, this is still minimum, right? I mean, this is the.
yes,
We could use much more, but this is the amount that you can, as far as you think, get through this.
This is
This-
minimum here, isn't it? These red numbers,
that's
The red
where
numbers
we're
are what we're-
short.
yeah.
minimum to make this.
Yes,
To make it work.
Yes.
Yeah,
and that's saying every piece of
yeah.
equipment works. Now, we will purchase the 3 express boats this year, and then we have budgeted for next year
Oh, good.
3 more
Yeah.
express boats. And so that will give us more than where we're short. Right now, we're short 1 express boat, so, but also if you take into account, there's 14 express boats that we use during early vote at the county clerk's office. And I talked to you about how we're going to actually set up Yvonne Richardson Center after the close of early vote. So that'll be 5 that we'll be using there. So we'll still have 9 that we would be able to take out into the fields on election day. This also includes 2 new election day sites.
Oh, good.
So if we didn't have those 2 election day sites, then we would be, yes, we would have 12 extra express votes. So that's saying that we're gonna add to election day sites. So, yeah, so I think that this is a good way for us to spend that money that we have.
What's the annual average fail rate on an express vote? Because you said we have 3 new ones budgeted for next year and have 315 of them. So we budgeted like 1%, a little bit left
So
of them to fail and replace. What's the annual?
we had 14 not work for the general election in 2022. We had 14 that we couldn't deploy. Now, it was due to a shortage of parts to be able to fix them. They have all been fixed now. So, but you can't take, you can't say that, oh, they're all gonna be in working order and everything. So I think we always need to bank on 15 not working. And with the way that we'll be purchasing 3 and then 3, so that gives us 6. And then we'll have 9 from early vote. So that gives us that many more to deploy out in the field on election day if we need them.
As backup.
Mhm.
Do you, mark these machines as this one has a reputation for failing?
We do tag
Okay,
them
good.
when we come in, and then, so for instance, if we know one that they fixed and like the light is still, we typically will send it to a place that has
Oh,
14, because if it is one of the 14 that fails, until we can get a new one out there to replace it, they still have 13 functioning. If we were to send it to a place where they only have 2 or
Yeah.
3, then they're, really hurting more so by having one.
that's a good move.
Yeah, the DS200s, they typically don't. We have one that we have an issue with election day. I suspect that mostly it's human error and it is not the machine's error. Like, they don't do this silver bar down.
Right.
There's
Oh,
just
yeah.
something that just, it caused it to jam, but we don't like to take chances that it will jam again during the day, so we swap out the tops. So the DS200s, those,
That's good,
Yeah.
yeah, those I have no issues with. The poll books as well, I think we're good on the poll books in the sense that If the line is long at the poll book, then we are in good shape in the sense that if that voter decides for some reason that they can't wait in that line anymore, they can go to another place and vote. But if our lines are long at the express vote, they've already been checked in. They can't leave until they vote. And so sometimes when we deploy multiple express votes to a site, it's if they see that their line is long for the express votes, because it took people a long time to vote this past general election, you slow the poll books down. So that's so that you keep that line short at the express votes. And so sites that get 6 poll books, sometimes they don't use them all day long. But we do need to keep in mind that those sites with the 6, because of the way we're going to be issuing provisional ballots, that's going to take a little bit longer in the poll book for the supervisor doing that. So some of those sites have 2 supervisor
Oh,
tablets.
good.
And that's why they have 6. It's not that they're using 6 to check in people. It's that the supervisor, they need it. So for like instance at Central, you have one that is just address changes.
Wow.
That is all they're doing.
Okay.
And then the other one is available for
Mhm.
provisionals.
Okay.
So, yeah, so, I mean, so that's with the money that we have,
Mhm.
making the best.
This is in our budget for this year.
Yes.
then? Okay.
I might suggest, I mean, just knowing the rate, you know, if you've got 14 or 15 that have issues every single year, and we're replacing 3 a year and the machines are getting older.
Mm,
2024 doesn't seem like the year to ask to budget for new equipment because our budget is already an election year budget, but for 2025. It's an off year, and we have a non-election year smaller budget. You might consider Jennifer asking for more.
Right. I think that's a
Budgeting
good
for
idea.
more express votes.
Yes.
Because we know their machines are getting older and they're gonna have issues more and more.
Right.
So 3 is not gonna keep pace, you know,
No.
in the long term.
I think that's an excellent point. All right, so, given these particular figures, and the numbers that Jennifer has presented, shall we, have a motion to proceed forward with these numbers?
Sure, I'll make a motion to approve the purchase of voting equipment as Jennifer is presenting.
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor? All right, the motion is presented and accepted and move forward, Jennifer. Thank you. All right, on to the 2024 budget.
So I have updated the 2024 budget with money in there for an additional election date that I had already built in for the other one. So this was just really just for that second one, so that changed our dollar amount by $11,000 in the salaries part-time. That's the only change that I had made to the budget. Now, you have 2 sheets like this.
Okay.
The one with the red is the one just for us for today. The
Oh,
one
okay.
without the red will be the one that I turned into the comptroller. And I also added at the bottom your request for the reimbursement.
Oh, good.
Like I have the one with red. in it.
Okay. But that's the only change that I made from our
So
previous
this
discussion.
red is just notes for you.
It is, it's just notes for us, but this one without the red will be the one that I turn into the comptroller with the addition of, like I said, the reimbursement that you had requested.
Mhm.
And I went ahead and estimated a reimbursement of 38% for this year, just to give them a idea of
Yeah.
what we might be. It could be a little bit
Might
lower.
be
it
more,
could
might be.
Right, so I did go ahead and request that because I think we definitely are gonna aggressively approach the SBEC about changing how they reimburse the counties.
Yeah.
And hopefully that helps.
Super. All right, gentlemen, any questions about the budget?
Oh, this is maybe petty, but I think I might consider down here in the screen, where you say difference,
Mhm.
maybe renaming that to net budget cost.
Okay,
I like that.
okay.
We
Yeah.
got a column over here that says difference, of course, you don't give that to them.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, no, I think that's a good idea. Okay, I will do that.
What else?
And I also did look, because when I read the newspaper article and it said that we were requesting over $1 million budget. Gosh, but I went back to look, and in 2022, the actual budget that we requested was over $1 million.
Yeah,
So this was not brand new territory for us to request a budget with over $1 million. It just so happened that we turned back money.
Yeah.
From 2022, and so the actual budget cost was $979,000. But we had actually requested 1,029,680 in 2022.
Oh.
So we were not too far off the
Mhm.
mark
Right.
from what we had originally requested in 2022.
yeah, and you know what? Everything has gone up,
And that is.
absolutely
Yes.
everything.
Yes.
And this is the biggest election we'll ever.
That's right.
for.
Yeah,
The county grows in population and registered voters, and
good point.
that's a
Yeah.
good thing, but.
Yeah.
Election costs. go
But
up.
we have to absorb that cost.
We do. And really, the net budget is only, it's a little over $800,000.
Mhm.
And that's 38%. It could be more.
Right.
That we request back, and there could be more that we turn back. If
Mhm.
some of our runoffs aren't as big as what we anticipated, there will be more money turned back in those areas.
Well, I have no questions, I don't think.
Anything else for me?
As usual, good work.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah, I
It's a
agree.
lot of numbers. All right, then, I will entertain a motion to move forward.
So moves.
Second,
Motion is to move forward with this budget as presented. All in favor? Jennifer? Go for it.
Okay. I will get that turned in and then let you know, what I hear back.
This is really early for it, isn't it?
It's not, I looked
Really?
back, when I was going back through, I noticed that in 2022, I think it was, that my, letter of explanation was dated June 6th.
Oh, wow,
So, yeah, so it's not,
surprised.
Mhm.
Okay, we've done all the 2024 budgets. So we'll move on to upcoming dates. And that's our regional meeting on the 11th of July.
and I have included for you, I just received it yesterday, the, legislative summary from the SBEC.
Oh, okay.
I'll be combining that with other notes that I may have for our meeting. Daniel did suggest that we start the meeting at 9:30, so I will put that note out.
What does that mean? He's got a lot
Okay,
going
good.
into it.
No, I asked him about, should we do lunch, should we not?
Right,
And
right.
he suggested, let's do 9:30 and be done
Just after.
after, yeah. a little
Sure.
bit after,
Yeah,
so
hey, that's
yeah.
fair.
Okay, well,
So-
he's planning to pour a lot into this.
I don't know, he is doing their first one today,
Oh.
down in South, Arkansas, and he was gonna call me after today. When I look over the bills, now we track a lot more bills than what he has on his, sheet here. So he is not planning on touching any of those, and I don't think that I will add any of those. The only one he didn't add that I thought might be important is the integrity division out of the AG's office, the Attorney General's office. He doesn't have that included in here. He has the one about the SBEC and the expanded SBEC integrity bill, but so I think it's just, we should just note that there's also another place that will be looking at election laws, so. But some of the stuff is fairly straightforward, shouldn't take, very much discussion. The two big bills are, the ballot error correction procedures, which is on page 4. And, most of which we have already been doing. So that one is just really just laying out how to correct, and the procedures for doing it. And the other one is,
Correcting is when a ballot isn't able to be read by the machine.
no, it is, if a name is misspelled, if a race is omitted. Those type
The
of
ballot that
things.
was issued.
Yes,
Got it.
so, so
Yeah.
that one is, has a lot more detail in it because nothing's ever been laid out.
I remember when we had to address that issue before, it was
Mhm.
just kind of discussing it and figuring out the best way to resolve it.
Right,
To fix a mistake that,
Yeah,
yeah,
was from redistricting or
Yeah.
some other issue.
right,
Yeah.
not including certain streets.
Yeah.
right. So this
Yeah.
lays out in law
Okay.
how to proceed. None of it was surprising because like I said, we have done all these remedies.
Several, yeah.
Yeah,
Several cases.
before, yeah,
Good
so
that they give guidance to the counties on it, so.
I agree. And the other one is the ballot handling and chain of custody. That's the other
Okay.
one.
So,
Yeah, that he has quite extensive notes on, and I have quite extensive notes on. Those are the two big bills, I think. The other one that he's spent a lot of time on is procedures for counties who can count ballots. And so unless a county is going to hand counting, this bill.
This would be and in case somebody decides to do it, it's not that it's being done now.
Right,
Okay,
so it's laid out procedure for
Okay.
that, but
which
most,
counties is good,
Yeah,
have it prepared in case.
yeah,
yeah, like Chris.
so. So, yeah, and then, so that will be all part of the discussion. I did bring in new copies of what the absentee application will look like. That had to have an adjustment to it as well. I know it's 2 pages now.
It's ridiculous.
Never been 2 pages before,
Oh,
but it has the addition of if someone assists someone filling out an absentee ballot application, not the
Okay,
statement, the
okay.
application, that, they have to sign this form.
Okay,
So, so in order for that to be placed on there, it made it a little bit longer. So.
I'll just copy that. I can get that.
I don't know what is going on. It's. I know that's an agenda. Yeah, I'll do that.
there you go. Give me my copy of it.
That, that section 3 is the new part.
okay. And
Um,
this, oh, no, it doesn't go. I need this.
so when they presented this to us, they did ask for our suggestions.
Mhm.
So for us, for canvassers, because I'm thinking about when we canvass. Our suggestion, all the stuff on the front page isn't anything we need for canvassing. They had everything all kind of jumbled up in different orders. My suggestion had been to the SOS office, the stuff for our canvassers needs to be on one page, so our canvassers are not flipping this
Right,
back and forth.
yeah, good point.
And, so I sent them this kind of thing, and so, they, took our suggestions, other county suggestions, and this is what they sent back as suggestion. We are going to, because we do have the ability to change some things on it, we are going to update ours that we post online with the actual dates of the election. so that there's no confusion on when the dates will be, what the dates of the runoffs will be, all of that. Theirs has to be very generic because it's part of their power profile if someone were to get one through a different site, but I will update one for this year with the dates for this year, and then I'll do one for 2024 that has a specific election dates on it, plus the runoff, because that's important too. So
I would suggest that these, I mean, this is just a easy thing, but these boxes need to be more visible.
and we can do that, like, I can play with it a little bit. I already talked to Becky in the clerk's office. Just,
The boxes.
Yeah, look at the boxes on there.
especially our printer, I
Oh,
don't see about printing it on a different printer.
Oh,
See if
okay.
that is our printer, or if.
Or
it-
maybe use a different,
Mm-mm, no.
maybe use a different shape. It's just. I think too many people are just gonna run through it and not see those.
No.
Yeah, I agree. It's a good point.
I
It's almost
will-
like they're gray in color because the black text is on right next to it.
Yeah,
I will make that update. All those things we can do. That's no
Okay.
big deal. So I can make those updates.
I just wonder, are they created by the same thing that creates the bullet points, or they have bullet point option?
That is an option.
Because it might be that the boxes, bullet point option are
Yeah.
right to begin with.
Yeah,
Could be there's a something in the font
yeah.
area.
So
Yeah.
I'll update that, because I need to have this posted, around the 1st of July. Because this is
yeah.
a new law, so this goes into effect, so that new part of it. And then I'll, give it to Becky and.
You can't revise this other than just that printing.
No, there's no,
Is there some
basically,
discretion?
there's discretion on, this is the application. So there is discretion on the application, the voter statement, there is no discretion, but the application, there is definitely discretion on for us. We just don't want to remove.
Oh,
anything.
right, yeah.
Sure.
But,
Yeah.
but no, I can definitely,
Not that I see anything that needs to change.
oh, okay.
I
was
was
like-
just
Oh, okay.
curious, you know.
Yeah, no, because basically a voter application that comes doesn't even have to be filled out on this form. You can turn
send it
in a
down.
piece of paper. You can't send an email
I
because
thought you could. I thought you could contact.
it would
the
have to
person
be, oh, for an application, yes. But
For an application.
for an application, but let's say I want to receive an absentee ballot for the November election.
Mhm.
I can write on this piece of paper, please send me an application, or this is my application for the November 13th election. And here's my name, my address, my date of birth, my signature. As long as it has all of that information on it, then they will accept
That's
that
acceptable.
An email would not suffice because of the signature.
signature. That's, you can email to request one,
Hmm.
but you can't, the email cannot be your application. Because the ones we get to for federal elections are a little bit different, like there's a little bit more lenience on like how this is. As long as but it have to have the certain required information. I'm unavoidably absent, so yeah, give a reason and your name, your, all that
Does that
information.
Becky have the ability, or does she ever consider having just an online application? You can sign your name online.
That's true. Doesn't it have, is that considered a wet sign, like a,
I mean, I've said it many times before, under Arkansas law, an electronic signature is the same signature. It may be different in this circumstance if you have to compare the signature with another. But also, somebody's signature is the same online or in person.
their signature on their.
I don't know, I haven't.
document will be different, their voter statement has to be. I'll ask.
I don't know,
I'll ask them.
I know the county clerk handles the absentee ballot
Mhm.
and issuance of absentee ballots. I don't know, I was just asking if that's something that you consider.
I know there's some software that you can sign in a box. But most of the time, seems to me, those online signatures are created by the program that you're in.
Yeah,
And they look different than anything you would have signed by hand. So you can't match those.
right.
Do you, is she, reminds me, we're using the signature on this to match the voter
Mhm.
statement.
And she uses the signature from the application
Mhm.
for, to the, application to the, voter registration. To make
Oh,
sure,
yeah.
She
because,
matches it to the registration then.
yeah,
Got it,
because sometimes
got
she
it.
has gotten applications in that has that signature exactly like you're talking about.
Sure.
And she's had to contact them to say,
That's,
I can't accept this signature because it's
Yeah.
obvious, it's one of those Adobe, yeah, it's one of the
Because of the
Adobe.
signature matching requirement comes back to that.
Yeah.
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 Anyway.
That battle has to be fought somewhere.
It does, Jim, it does,
No,
always be
I
fought.
said somewhere else, I said it needs to be fought, somewhere.
Oh, it needs to be
Um,
fought.
The other thing about these applications too, they can't go out pre-filled. So for instance,
Yeah, okay.
like if somebody called in and said, hey, can you send me an application? I only want it for this election and this is my reason. Someone in the clerk's office can't mark those selections and then send it to the voter for the voter to fill out. That is another very explicit part of the law as
Okay.
well. So, and the clerk and also the election officials are not allowed to pass out mass applications.
hmm,
So like, if you guys were to get 10 or 12 of these and go to an
just go
event,
stuff. Yeah.
you would be prohibited from passing those out along with someone in the county clerk's office as well.
Does that include a long-term residential care facility?
No,
That's the only exception, that's the only
Those are
exception,
completely
basically.
different. And having it posted online also is not included. Now, an individual can do it, but as
Right.
a
Non-election
commissioner,
official, got it, okay.
so.
But if you put it on the website, then anybody can download it at any time and fill it out and return it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good,
So that's, I mean, that seems to me the simplest way.
Right.
yeah.
And we'll get this updated for online, but it's important to note that your application that you fill out for this year is only good for this
Oh,
year,
right.
starting January 1st. You will need to fill out a completely new one. There's a small tiny group
Mm.
of Uocava voters that it doesn't apply to, but for most voters.
Do you have that statement, that particular statement?
Yeah,
You
it-
must. I mean, I
Oh.
was thinking on the website.
Yes, I do.
Okay.
I have it. I've put up a new, I've put up a new page on our site about the March 5th election.
Okay.
And I have the
Good.
absentee deadlines and I have that you must reapply by January 1st. I have that as a note on our website already.
Super. Speaking of dates, remind me again, when filing starts for next year.
So filing starts next year, on November the 6th. And it actually ends November the 14th. I had not read the law, the
Oh.
new laws. They changed it to an 8-day filing period instead of a 7-day filing period, just for the primary election. So it actually ends November the 14th. So November the 6th, and I have all of this updated on our website. So
Cool.
we have complete all the information, the office is up for election, when filing starts, when early voting, or absentee deadlines, voter registration deadlines, all of that.
Have you notified the party chairman of this? Because there may be a lot of people who are not yet
I
aware.
think,
I don't know that they're.
well, I think they do know, at least the Republican Party does know, because Becky mentioned something to me the
Okay.
other day about it being the 8 days.
Uh,
I said, yes, I just read that. I said, because all my calendars are wrong, because I
Oh,
didn't
boy.
realize they had changed it.
yeah,
And so, yeah, so I
Okay.
do know.
Yeah, it's not a bad idea, Renee.
Just put
send a-
in-
send
yeah.
a letter, hey.
or
this
even
is-
just an email.
Or an email,
I can do
whatever,
that.
hey, to the park.
Just a reminder,
Just a
because-
reminder, because it's different.
It is different and
Yeah.
it's right when holiday season is beginning
Yeah,
and
you're right.
people are not thinking about that.
Now,
Yeah, definitely.
I do send them to the school districts.
Oh, good.
Because that's the
They gotta
full filing
think about
period.
Yeah.
And for them, they just had an election.
All right.
You know, they had an election in May and
Yeah.
now they're gonna turn around and
Yeah.
Have another one.
have another one. So I do always notify
That's
the
good.
school districts just because it's just not something they're, you
Yeah.
know. I mean, I do think they get notified by the state Board of Education, but I like to go ahead and just send out just a friendly reminder to them.
Well,
That's
telling
good.
all, organizations, parties, and these people who run for office, just the
Yeah.
dates are
Yeah.
spreading the word is not a bad idea.
The more you do it, the more people will ignore it.
Yeah.
All right, let's see, other business. Do we have any other business, Jim?
Well, I kind of back on the same thing that we were talking about, the SCPC and this.
Oh, right, uh-huh.
This particular bill that we talked about last time was 1487. That held how ballots are going to be, or certain ballots are going to be transported
Right.
securely.
Now, is that an act at this point?
It is an
Yes,
act.
Act 329.
329.
Page 7.
Page 7, yeah.
Okay.
Sorry. All I'd like to do, I really, I think there are some open-ended stuff in this thing that I just don't understand. And I would maybe ask that when you're talking to SBDC and when they're coming to this meeting,
Mm,
and maybe I could give you a list of questions that I have.
Yeah.
But I would like for them to give us a really definitive explanation of how this relates to chain of custody, because it's clearly chain of custody is in the heading for this. How does it relate to chain of custody? And what specifically is the process that we should use to make sure we meet the letter of this law, the intent of the law? Because I'm not sure that. I think there's a lot of open-ended stuff there.
I think your question that you asked last time is like, what happens if it's not met?
that's right.
That was, yeah.
Yeah.
Was one, but if you do, I will incorporate it into like our little booklet, because you're probably not the only one with those questions, and then that'll.
Well, I mean, I'm not gonna make any, editorial comments about what I think about what it is. I will say this, I looked up chain of custody and what it means, and it's clearly a legal statement, and a chain of custody in a legal manner is covered by sealed documents, sealed in a box or a bag or whatever, that's been signed off on by whoever sealed it. And then the next person that gets it signs off on receiving it. That covers the legal part of it. What's the two people, to bring it, to carry it? How is that a chain of custody issue? It's under that heading.
Yeah,
I guess that's almost specifically what my major question is. I think it opens the door for the potential issues, and maybe no real problem. Issues.
yeah.
Yeah, but
Well, I mean, the sense that I have is it infers that we don't trust one vehicle, we gotta have two vehicles.
Well, there was a problem, as we all well know.
Yes.
And that
yes.
one problem That one
Was that
problem,
the one that,
that's the one that I think created this, the need for somebody
the
to talk
second one.
for this language about two people. Okay?
Okay.
And that's like saying I've got 75 kids in a bus and I stop at Buc-ee's, and when I get back in, one of them has coat on a sweatshirt. So I'm gonna make them all go in and buy a sweatshirt instead of taking the one back in and make them pay for it,
yeah,
you know?
yeah,
I just don't see it.
it's not, I don't know.
I'm sorry, I made a editorial.
No,
So I wouldn't-
you did, didn't you? No, there's something puzzling about it.
It is. I think it's, I think probably, you know, in goodwill, you know, that they did it, thinking that, you know, we need to cover that issue. And so we'll cover it.
And that's the way they did
That's the way
it.
they
Yeah,
did it.
yeah.
I just think it was poorly thought out.
Yeah.
I don't mean to talk about my legislators, but
Hey, they're good bills or bad bills, you know. They're all-
They don't know.
Right thing.
Sometimes they don't realize they're bad bills until after they've been implemented in ways that we just go,
Yeah,
what?
Well,
yeah.
I honestly, I've got to take some responsibility for not getting to this earlier, because I was focused on
Oh, yeah,
on the other issue that and I saw this when they sent us the stuff that they said, remember early on, I saw it and I thought, well, that seems odd, but
Mhm.
I'm over here focused
Yeah.
on this, and
Yeah.
I think this is unconstitutional what they're
Right,
trying to do.
right.
And we defeated that, but let this ride, and I shouldn't have, and I
Yeah.
apologize for that.
Well, we're gonna whip you with a noodle
I'll
here.
do it.
What other business do you have, Jim?
Only, this goes back, did you say, did somebody say that, did you write, something in, or did somebody write something in reference to, the barcodes on,
We explained
I
that.
have,
when the barcode, is the barcode printed, in the little printer, the first time it's printed, or is a barcode? When does the barcode printed on the,
there's two
No.
times it's printed.
okay,
The first one is, it's printed on the little printer when the voter checks in. And in that barcode is just simply the name of the election and their precinct.
okay,
So then when they go over to the express vote and they vote,
Feed it
then
in.
feed it in and they vote, when it prints there, then the barcodes at the top then are how the person voted. And each barcode represents a candidate's name. And then that's what's fed into the DS200. And we made the documents that shows that those barcodes, if you scan it with your phone, and it's gonna show you a set of numbers. When you look at those numbers, if you go back to a paper ballot, that we have grid lines on it. Those grid lines is where the ballot is. It's like row
The name.
and column where the name is, row and column, and whether it's sheet 1 or 2, if there's a 2-page ballot, and whether it's the front or the back of the ballot.
so it's simple to decipher what the barcode says,
Yes,
and that it,
It's one of those things where, if you understand how the ballot is laid out, the barcode explains every portion of where you need to look to confirm that this is the name in the barcode of the person that you, or in the layout, I guess, that's the person you voted for.
okay, I just needed that clarification filled out in my, attempt to use what I consider to be critical thinking and, you know, ask question to the void. I was stuck on that.
Yeah,
I needed that.
yeah.
I appreciate it.
Debbie, when we print out the sample ballots, when you printed out those ones with the barcodes on them, with the grid lines on them, are you making screenshots of that, or I'm wondering if we can't make a PDF of those ballots. And then when we put our sample ballots out at the polls, they have the grids on them. And if a voter is so like, I don't believe that this is what it is,
Mhm.
they could go to the printed sample ballot, count your rows, count your columns, know if it's front or back, it's precinct specific. Now that is
Yeah.
very, very important to note. So for instance, a JP race on one ballot, because let's say that precinct doesn't have a state house race.
Yeah,
So it might be in a different location
Yeah.
on a ballot that, you know, has a state house rate. So it is precinct specific. So you
location in
can't-
terms of where the number is in the barcode,
Yeah.
that correlates to a race.
It
So it
correlates.
could be the third one is state house race in this person's
Mhm.
ballot, and it could be a JP race in this person's.
Yeah, so you have to
Yeah,
look
okay.
at the precinct. You can't just look at the very first ballot and pull up and say, oh, well, no, that
Yeah.
doesn't work. Well, yeah, it doesn't. We'll investigate and see what we can find in
Yeah.
regards to that.
Give the voter an opportunity to step aside with
Yes.
the completed ballot and.
Yes.
And look
Yeah.
at that.
So we'll have to look at that and see. The one issue that we've had with printing, like when you look on Debbie's computer, that grid is as easy to see as
Mhm, yeah.
everything. But if you notice, like on that absentee application, how light
Right.
Yeah.
those little boxes were, when we print those grids, they're really hard to see.
Oh, I see.
So
Yeah.
I will see if it's possible. If it's
Mhm.
not, I'll let you know, but we will work on that to see.
Maybe we can lay something over it.
Oh, Deborah was supposed to do that. Deborah has the grids at Absolute. I'll visit with her.
There you go. Lay it over the top and that would be the way to see it.
Yeah, let me visit with Deborah and see if that works. I don't want to do if it doesn't.
Right, no,
Because is it
You
gonna
don't wanna
be, you
get-
have to line it up, back.
Information that people aren't able to.
Yeah,
They have
so
to decipher.
we want to be really careful.
Right.
But I know that Deborah did talk about like our printer for the
Mhm.
ballots, that she does have some type of grid overlay.
yeah, I was thinking
And
it.
I had asked her about that, so I'll follow her around grid overlay.
Thank you. I think it's good for us to have these conversations.
Absolutely.
Defend the good,
Yes.
solid,
Yeah.
voting mechanism, elections.
Hey, Sharon, remind people that, you know, any retail store you go to in the country, this is barcodes, you know, and they have a UPC number there, and a lot of retailers look at that UPC number and they can decipher the category of the product, is,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
the individual product just based off that number.
They've worked with
Same,
that.
I mean, it's the same system, right?
Yeah.
That,
Yeah.
in essence, it's barcodes.
Yeah.
And what you're asking about, talking about, Jim, is, yeah, you can look at that barcode and depending on the precinct, figure out exactly who you voted for. Because it corresponds
The
to.
barcode has the numbers with it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You don't have to read it on anything.
Oh, does it have the numbers underneath?
No,
the
when you
barcode?
can download a barcode reader
Yeah.
on your phone.
So ours doesn't have the numbers.
Not underneath,
I know I've seen barcodes.
UPC, yeah, retail
Right.
stores
They
do,
have
Right.
the numbers.
right,
but and the number corresponds though regardless to the size of, to the line.
Yeah.
And so that's what the barcode reader is.
Yeah, so,
Yeah,
and
okay.
anyone can download that on their phone. I mean, it's nothing
Right.
special.
Is there a number on there that on that barcode that says this is, precinct such and such?
So in the one that prints from the little printer, the first barcode
Has the precinct.
has the precinct, and that's the ballot style that we see.
and that's actually printed, the name is printed on.
The name is printed on here, but if you were to read that barcode, it's gonna give you a number like 32, which correlates to our ballot style, which correlates to a specific precinct. And so, yeah, so that is,
And we would love for anyone to come, everyone to come to the LNA testing that we do.
Absolutely,
We're
yeah.
actually, you know, creating ballots and reading them in through the barcodes.
And that would be the
200 and
place.
Showing,
To ask these questions,
definitely. Do we?
so that when you go to vote,
Yeah,
you know and have confidence that
exactly.
these are gonna be the people you voted for.
I mean, not to create more work for you guys, Jennifer, but the next time we do LNA testing, you know, we may audio show it on there, but we might consider even being a little more thorough in the demonstration. Hey, this is what we've done. This is how this works, and showing the camera, put it online so people can see.
Maybe we need to do that kind of tutorial for what we just talked about and put it online.
Show it, I mean,
Put it
because
on our website.
that's the process that we're doing every time. It's confirming that the machines are accurate, every single machine.
Yeah.
Based on test election. So yeah, I'm with you. Why not do it and show people?
So our little webcam's gonna get a lot more.
It is, you're gonna learn how to produce things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, that's gonna be the problem. No one willing to come and help me do LNA. No, I will only do it if I am not on camera. No one.
Oh, my goodness, yeah. This is your start, Jennifer.
I know.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
To have them sign a little, what is that, a waiver to appear on TV.
Okay, no other business from you, my dear Max?
No, nothing. I got
Nothing.
nothing.
Okay, do we have comments from the public?
The only question I guess I have is the Act 329, so ballot handling and chain of custody. This is obviously what the legislature put in place, but with the change of your location now, is there a chain of custody that's mapped out? Because I remember there was discussion about ballots having to move within the county. Has that been identified yet?
Yeah, we actually, for the May 9th election, put that in place.
Cool.
And so every ballot box that was brought in, we had a spreadsheet with the serial numbers that were on that ballot box. When they were checked in election night up in the courtroom, they were checked in.
Okay.
And they were signed
Yes.
by the people who had physically handled them.
Then when they transferred to the downstairs room, for that election, we treated the downstairs room when we still had it as if it was a completely different building.
Okay.
So when they were brought into that room, I had another column, each box, and they counted the boxes to make sure the box count matched each time. Then before we moved down here, I'd already had another column added because they, once the 30 days is over, then they get moved over to our other building for storage.
Okay.
So once they were picked up here, there was a check that they were picked up, and then when they were checked in over there, there was a column. So we put that in practice for this election because we knew going forward, we would want to see how it worked. And so we have those sheets for all of those, and each time the boxes were moved, there's a place for you to put the total box number, and that number has to be the same each time. So we kind of worked through that little process.
Good, you got a test run.
Basically,
Okay.
yes.
On a much smaller scale, but still
Yes,
to test the process.
yes,
Okay.
and it was 26 ballot boxes, so which 40, if we're looking at 43 sites, it was about half. So, yeah, so,
Not bad.
yeah.
Okay. And then another question, and you may not know the answer off the top of your head, so you can tell me where to find this if you don't know. How many absentee ballots do you typically get, or ballot requests? We're talking about the forms. Is it 1% of voters? Is it 10% of voters?
In 2022 for the general election, we had 1,120 absentee ballots counted. And that was out of 71,000 votes cast.
Okay.
So that's not a huge
But you don't have the number of absentee ballots.
Request.
Request.
Yeah.
So it would have been more than 1,000.
No, I mean.
Well, we
it-
counted 1,000, right?
Yes, we counted this many, but it probably would have only been, I think maybe 50 or 60 didn't come back. Like you don't like whenever you get an absentee ballot application.
How many came back that we didn't count though? You know what I mean? Like
yeah,
there's some that didn't come
some-
back, but there's some that we didn't count.
Oh, that's a good thing.
Maybe,
Okay.
yeah, I would add maybe 100, 150 to that.
Why weren't they counted?
Clerical
Various
errors
reasons.
or
Various reasons.
returned after
incomplete
deadline,
forms,
all of it. all of
Signatures
it.
not matching,
Okay,
Improperly completed.
missing one category like a date of birth or
okay.
the address being wrong.
Yeah.
There were a couple, I remember it was
Yeah,
wrong, but
yeah.
like a street number or something. you
Okay.
know, Various
But that's super.
minor
helpful to know.
things, yeah.
But you don't get tons of applications that you don't actually send ballots out to. Like for every application we get, the clerk gets, they send a ballot out.
Okay,
And so it's a question of, does it return on time? And then do we count it or not count it?
yeah,
So, yeah.
okay,
Okay,
thank you.
you're welcome. We appreciate you coming. If we don't have any other business, we are adjourned.
I'm thinking, Jim, I just think all of your stuff, like my stuff, and I don't know what.
That's a lot of paper.
Oh,
JD and I forget with that. Well, you brought some extra papers.
Yeah, that's true, that's true.
Well, I was wondering if maybe there was some.
No, I printed out the application for the last.